Hey, and welcome to Tarsha Homestead. I'm Alex. It's been a long time since I made a video today. I wanted to take you through my workshop, show you around a little bit about the work that I've done since we moved into this place. So as you can see, the building is still very dilapidated on the outside. We've got all of the metal siding over here, and then original wood siding over here. The pieces are broken, the paint is chipped, it's worn, it's just not in good shape at all. First thing we did when we moved out here was I had to repair a lot of the soffit along the edge over on that side. Birds and critters could crawl up and they were all living in the loft space above. So we evicted them, we got the building sealed up, and there's still work to be done there, but it's at least got the critters out. Originally, I was going to move into a different building on the property, and I had another video on the channel about that building and what I was going to do in there. Plans had to change because that roof leaks, and I didn't want to spend the money to fix that roof right then and there. Eventually we'll have to do it, but for now I had this building sitting here that was bigger and wasn't being used, so why not? So this building originally was a corn crib. There was slats of wood along one side. All of this metal covers slats of wood that are spaced apart about 3 or 4 inches top to bottom, and that allowed them to pile corn cob inside of there and or corn on the cob, whatever you'd call it, just corn in that side of the building, and airflow would move through it. There was a channel underneath so that airflow could move through it and it could dry out. This side was closed-in walls with the ability to stack 2x6s to close the doors up as you filled them with grain. So the center was just a full drive-through. At some point, somebody completed the roof on this and then put the barn doors on here. I think the previous owner added these barn doors. So I'm excited about the fact that the building is still standing. I'm trying to keep some of the character of the building, but the bottom line is the wood on the exterior is just trashed. There's not much saving it. I could go and I could scrape all the paint off and I could repaint it, but it's just not in good shape anymore. The metal over here doesn't match and it's all beat up and dented, and at some point somebody was using it as a backdrop for pellet guns, and so it's got holes in it and everything. So my plan is, exterior wise, we're gonna re-side the whole thing. It's a little unfortunate. I really wanted to keep that character, but I think in order to preserve the longevity of the building, the right thing to do at this point is to re-side it. That's enough about the exterior. I've been rambling for quite a bit. Let's go take a look inside and I'll show you through my shop. All right, welcome to the inside of my workshop. We're standing in the center of the building here. This is where those barn doors are on either end. And this allowed, I think, way back when for a wagon to come through here and they could load grain and stuff into it. So as you can kind of see on this wall, it's still framed, and there's still some of those slats that I was talking about that made it corn cribbing on there. Those did go all the way full height. But in order to make this building useful again, I'm removing that. And my plan long term, I'm not there yet, but my plan is to eliminate this whole center section of this wall with a beam across the top. I'll keep little pony walls on either end. So right down here, we're really just talking about coming through into my wood shop. I've got the miter station here. If you've watched my previous miter station video, that was a fantastic miter station. When we moved to Illinois, I didn't bring it with me. I sometimes regret that decision because it was such great storage. But if I were to do it again, I'd do it a little bit differently. So I guess this is an opportunity to do it. I'm just not ready to spend the money on the materials yet. So one day I'll build a proper miter station. For now, my miter saw just sits on top of the table here. As we walk through, I've got this Rockler material mate cart. I'm not a big proponent of Rockler versus Woodcraft versus whatever. I don't care. I'm not sponsored, none of that. So I just liked the design of this thing. My thought was I can roll this right up to the door, unload sheet goods right onto it, and bring it right in. What I found is that it ends up working as kind of like a secondary work surface. So I'm a big fan of that particular piece. Over here I've got my Powermatic 20-inch planer and then my Powermatic 8-inch parallelogram jointer. I had Laguna previously in my previous shop, and I loved them. Here, our local woodworking store is only about 8 miles from my house, and they are a Powermatic dealer. And so I figured it was just best for me to stick with what was convenient and close and support local business. Over here, I do have just a Grizzly sander. It's a cheap one that I got through trade from a fellow beekeeper and a friend of mine. So, you know, it's nothing fancy, but it's getting the job done. Here I've got my 15-inch bandsaw with a Laguna Resaw King blade on it. Thing's phenomenal. It's been a little bit difficult for me to learn how to get it set up so that I don't get any blade drift, but Alex Snodgrass videos, if you haven't watched them, that's where it's at for this. Coming down here, and we'll do another close-up so that you can see it up close, is the router table that I built. And I used Michael Alm's design for the doors on it and drawers, and I really, really like it. In fact, I'm going to take that and extend it to this under cabinet storage that I have right here beside the saw stop, so that it matches throughout the shop. And then, of course, the 3 horsepower saw stop with the 52-inch fence. I could have just as easily done the 36-inch fence. The 52-inch fence was a little bit more convenient for me just because I like having this huge outfeed table. It gives me lots of room to work. I do a lot of stuff with sheet goods, and so it was just nice to have the extra material support. I don't always use the capacity, but it's nice to have, and I have the space, so why not? Lastly is my newest addition, my workbench. This deserves a close-up in and of itself. This was inspired by Tamar and 3x3 Customs. I can't wait to bring you guys up close and show this to you. This is life-changing in my wood shop. So off to this side right here is an empty room that I'll be using as a paint booth. Off to this side is an empty room that I currently have all my wood stored in. Long term, I'd like for that to be my CNC room. And then off to the side here is a room with my laser engraver, and it's a disaster because it's all of my overflow for everything else. And then directly beside the camera right here is my home office, and that's where I do all of my work from home as well as all of my design and everything for all of my woodworking. Now I'll take you over here to this side. You can see back in this corner I've got kind of my welding station and my sandblaster and just a cabinet. You can tell it's not clean, I need to do some work, but the idea is that this is kind of my dirty stuff right here, but also keeping it close to the front barn door so that I can pull material out as needed. For example, I need to weld something on a trailer or weld something on a tractor implement. I can bring it right in the barn door there and reach over to there. As we turn the camera around, my big toolbox, some stuff that I haven't yet gotten mounted over here, and then all the way down it's pretty well open. I've got anvil and some metalworking tools that I'm still trying to learn a little bit about, all of my Milwaukee station over there. I just did this year. It's a wood burning stove. It was not as effective as I had hoped it would be. I really think the problem here is just a matter of I have a lot of drafty air that I still need to solve for, and that side of the building is not yet insulated, so I think that this thing is just trying to play catch up. Then as I move down here, this is kind of what I call like my wife's section. She has a lot of little woodworking projects that she likes to do, and so she's kind of taken a corner right here of a place to do some work on her stuff. Long term, we'll have everything cleaned up and everything organized to where she can use the same space I use and then just have a place to put unfinished projects. And then down in the corner here is the Powermatic dust collector. It's the 5 horsepower with the HEPA filter, and man, that thing works great. So I'm really happy with it. The last couple things to see in this space is just kind of a storage wall where I have my hand tools, my clamps, glues, sandpapers, etc. I bought a bread rack, and that was the worst purchase I've ever made. It was so much money, it bent right away, but the goal ultimately was to have all of my fasteners organized, and that is working for that respect. But as far as using this as the building point for it, never again. Build yourself something, don't do what I did. Guys, thanks for checking out my messy shop. I appreciate you coming along and seeing what I've got going on here. It's a work in progress. I don't know that a shop is ever done, but there's still a lot that I would really like to do to bring different parts of this shop to reality. But it's been a lot of fun making it what it is so far. Thanks for following along. Let me walk you out. Hey, give us a like, a subscribe, a little thumbs up, maybe a comment. See you next time on Tarsha Homestead.